Wrestling's tough. There's so much to it, and you only learn gradually with time. Over the last 10 years, I've had some of the best matches of my career, and the fact that those aren't happening on a bigger platform, that breaks my heart sometimes.
You were only 22 when you made your WWE debut.
I was 21. I was turning 22 when I worked the Elimination Chamber.
Did you feel the pressure being in Elimination Chamber at that age and early into your WWE career?
Yes, I did. And also, I made a huge mistake by...
How heartbroken were you that you get released a few years later?
I was shocked and heartbroken, but I also felt like I would come back eventually.
Why were you so sure you'd come back?
I was young and I was redeemable.
Do you feel like you were ever close in WWE to winning a championship?
Vince was playing with the idea of making me the youngest champion.
The amount of muscle you put on at that age is impressive.
My body was just very receptive to it. Also, I had good genetics.
How hard was it to stay that conditioned?
It was hard, but it was more about making it a habit.
Do you think about how much longer you want to do this?
Yeah, I don't...
Is that a copper water bottle you're drinking out of?
Yes.
Is there a reason for that?
Well, it's got a ton of health benefits.
Yeah?
I had a guy who sold me on it purely on the fact that, so I'm starting to get a little bit of that salt and pepper in my beard, which I don't mind.
We're about the same age. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Which I don't mind. And like the ladies actually love, but my concern is the whole beard going completely gray, because then I feel like, oh, I'm going to have to shave it, because I don't want to do the, whatever it is that just, for, I mean, as long as, you know what I mean? Because I hate it when it looks obvious that you're coloring the beard. So I'm just, that's where I'm at.
You look like NWO Hogan then. You
know?
If you did paint it.
Exactly. But like, it was his thing and it just worked, right? I don't know. Like, I don't think anybody else could pull that off.
No, of course not.
Nor could anybody pull off the, the bald with the hair like that.
The skullet.
Yeah. Like he actually was okay with it.
So you're telling me this will keep my beard hairs from going gray?
I don't know. It's that. But if you think about it, honestly, like if you go back, early 1900s or whatever, people were always drinking out of this type of stuff.
The only thing I drink out of a copper mug is a Moscow Mule. Right?
Yeah.
It's not a Moscow Mule unless it's a copper mug.
Well, yeah, it's just, you got to read up on it. It definitely has, it matters what you drink out of. It really does. And, here's the thing, you can't drink out of this all day too, because it'll have a complete negative effect too. So it's a whole thing, but, I don't know. I like it.
When you had the beard, people were calling you Sexy Jesus.
Well, they still do. I just, I have to trim it every once in a while. I like to do the sideburns,
Those are good. Thing, Those are like 90s sideburns. The 90s are back.
Yeah. Yep.
So tell me about Sexy Jesus.
Oh my God. Okay. So basically somebody dropped hashtag Sexy Jesus in my Instagram comments. And, I just got like a little chuckle out of it, right? Didn't think much of it, but it was funny. It was silly, right? And so fast forward to its NWA, what was the pay-per-view? Maybe NWA 77, something. I'm wrestling Tom Latimer. And I have the thought of like, I have a pre-tape. So I'm like, maybe I should drop that Sexy Jesus line, but subtly, it doesn't need to be a big thing or anything. Just subtly drop it in the promo. And so I did. And then you fast forward to the match, and I'm working with Tom Latimer out there, and we're in the heat of the match, so to speak, and the crowd starts chanting, "Sexy Jesus, sexy," and like it was just really cool because I've never seen something pay off so quickly in pro wrestling. You know what I mean? For me, at least, where you say it earlier, just hoping that like, oh, maybe it's stupid, maybe it'll catch on a little bit, and then they're chanting it later. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe I can run with this a little. I mean, it's blasphemous, so it's kind of hard to use it in any of the big companies, but at least gives me something to play off of now. And I had told you before we came on that I've been working with GCW, so that's a good promotion for something like that. Circle 6, another one out here. I actually was Jesus for their Halloween show.
Perfect.
We had a Masterlock challenge with the devil. It was amazing. I don't know if you've ever been to Circle 6, but it's wild, man.
I was the ring announcer for Circle 6's first show.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So there you go.
I love Circle 6. JB's fantastic.
Oh, yeah. All of them. Sean, yeah.
Oh, yeah. They're great.
Yeah.
It's funny that you just threw Sexy Jesus in there as like just a line, just a throwaway line.
Well, that's where I felt like it had to be, though. Because, like to make a big presentation out of it, I don't know. I just like drop it in subtly, as one of the things I'm calling myself, and to see if anybody kind of catches on. And it's funny, man, a lot of the indie shows I'll work, like people will chant it and it always kind of makes me smile, like, cause it's just like, wow, like, like it's too bad I couldn't, how would you translate this on, WWE or AEW though? I don't know.
I don't think you can.
You can't. Yeah, you
but
can't.
You're making the most of it now.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, at least it gives me, like I said, it gives me something to work with as far as, evolving.
I just saw you putting a hockey mascot into the Masterlock.
That was one of your mascots, Fleaburn over in Canada. You don't think he deserved it?
I don't think any hockey mascot would deserve this.
I don't know. I hate mascots. God, getting the guy's way, dancing around and stuff, all jolly. Yeah, he had that Masterlock coming.
I love that you put it on and whoever else was with you was like, put that dog down.
Who was there was Rhino. And I was telling Rhino, like, dude, you should collapse at Fleaburn's body and like reach to the heavens. Why? Why? And like, I was just like, oh, that would have made me die if you did that. But yeah.
But the mascots are so beloved. Like this is mega heel heat when you do this. Cause like, who would attack our beloved mascot?
I love it. I love it. You know what's best? The best part about it, I'm sure you'll probably roll the clip, is them picking him up to carry him to the back, how sad it was. And just the fact that the whole audience is just like, oh, and then there's a clip actually where they do it from a distance and you actually have the hockey commentators that are like kind of calling this thing. And it's freaking hilarious because they're not pro wrestling commentators. So they're just like, I don't even know. It's just, they're like, what is going on out here? You got to see that.
Do you prefer working as a heel?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think most guys do. But for me, it's because, I feel like I'm more naturally probably a babyface. This is just me, evaluating me. And, if you've ever heard this, actually, most of the guys who are heels in the business are actually baby faces in real life and, vice versa. So, but I mean, bigger picture, though, it's just, it's more of a fun challenge to like, if you're playing the masterpiece or something like that, like you got to overcome all your little insecurities or whatever is going on in your life. And you got to believe that you're better than everybody in this building. And, they should be lucky to be watching you wrestle. Like that kind of mentality as a heel is kind of fun to play that out and kind of make that switch in your mind. And, it's like becoming somebody else, and fans appreciate heels too. You know what I mean? Like you got to have a good heel. And here's another thing that with pro wrestling is, when you're a heel, it kind of takes the handcuffs off a little bit. Sure, like there's a lot, like as a babyface, there's a lot of things you got to kind of avoid, like little things, you know what I mean? Like even just stomping a guy in the ring is not very babyface unless you're Steve Austin. You know what I mean? Like it isn't. So, but that's just one thing of many, So like, I just think it's a little more freeing as a heel. And like you can F up and it's always kind of okay if you're a heel. Like, you know what I mean? Like LA Knight's botch would actually been okay maybe if he's a heel, but as a baby, it doesn't help very much.
I say this frequently, but like if you're a baby face and you're getting booed, there's a problem. If you're a heel and you're getting cheered, it's like, not my fault you're cheering for me. Like, I guess I'm just that good.
Yeah.
Like, and that's an interesting thing because when you're a heel, any reaction is fine. When you're a baby face, if you're not getting cheered, it's like, ooh, got to figure this out. Yeah,
you're right. You're right. That is, and that's a lot of pressure, especially when you're first coming in. That's why I was kind of glad I was a heel because, they would have probably rejected me. I know they would have because my first match in OVW, Jim Cornette had me wrestle Joey Mercury. And this was the first time any of these people are seeing me. And I was supposed to be a babyface. And I walk out there and they just boo that out of me.
Just because you were jacked and good looking.
And I probably just came off like an a-hole. I don't know, like a cocky kid, you know what I mean? Like they just could not connect. And it was just funny when I came to the back, Jim Cornette's like, you will never be a babyface again. And I was just like, oh, wow, this is interesting experience here. Because, I didn't know what to expect from them either. Like, I don't look at myself like I'm like a 19-year-old kid over there and they're just booing the hell out of me. I'm okay.
When you started in wrestling, you started out here at UPW, which is in Orange County, right?
Yes.
Were you there at the same time as John Cena?
Yeah. And so I don't know this for certain, but we might have even started the same day. So yeah, like, my earliest memories are with Cena and there's another guy named Bad Boy Basil, UPW. I was only 16 years old and I ended up Copper Cup.
So you're 16, Cena would have been early 20s?
Yeah. And what happened is, so I can remember some of our training together. I remember one practice specifically where, do you know Andrew Bernardsky from the program?
No.
He's a big dude, but anyways, he was training with us and he went to give a leg drop off the second rope and literally landed with all of his ass on John Cena's head. Like almost killed the franchise before he ever became the franchise. You know what I mean? But yeah, and it was clunky as hell, man. Like some of the stuff I remember, like, cause I remember us working, you know, some tags and stuff over there because it was originally in Huntington Beach. And so, yeah, we did, you know, and it was maybe 3 months in that I was doing a leapfrog again with Andrew Bernardsky and I didn't clear him. And so I kind of landed on him and then landed on my ankle. Yeah, fractured my ankle. And, you know, I tried to keep training on it, but I knew something was wrong. And like literally a month had gone by and I couldn't extend my foot. So long story short, I ended up having surgery and then I took a couple years off. In that time, Cena obviously got signed, went to OVW, and then I ended up coming back to UPW, you know, like a couple years later, by the time I was like 18, I think. So
16, how jacked are you at that point in time?
Not very. I mean, I'd started working out, but like, you know, when I got to UPW, that's how I realized like, oh, you got a long way to go still. You know what I mean? You're not anywhere where you thought you were, you know, like, because again, John Cena was so built. And then there's another guy named Bad Boy Basil. And like, those were the guys that were really getting WWE's attention. So, you know, I just realized like, yeah, I had made progress for myself, but I had a long way to go. So that's why I kind of, you know, I had the surgery and I kind of just like just completely like indulged in bodybuilding and for the next couple of years took it up as a hobby. Even, you know, went to the Mr. Olympias, watched those and stuff like that. And, you know, Flex Wheeler, Lee Priest, you know, all those guys, that class. I just saw Lee Priest couple weeks ago. Awesome dude. He's at Gold's Venice.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. You still work out at Gold's Venice all the time, right? Like we did a workout video there, which people can check out. Yep. The crazy thing about Gold's Venice is like, you never know who you might see there. Like Arnold works out there almost every morning, right? Mike O'Hearn's there every morning at like 5 a.m. or something. You
know, and Arnold I never know what to say to Arnold. It's hilarious. You know, like he is the man, but like there was a time not too long ago where I was doing pullovers and he comes up to me at Gold's and he's all like, you know, you mind if I work in? Yeah. And I start laughing. I'm like, are you kidding me? You can work in wherever you want, you know? And it was just, you know, he goes there, he starts doing pullovers and like, you know, I'm just like, wow, this is pretty cool, man. Like, you know, not only is it Arnold, but then you start thinking like of the original Gold's Gym, just the doing pullovers, like is kind of a cool exercise to do with him. Yeah, it was.
Is there a conversation between sets or is it just like, all right, do your thing?
Well, he always has that tall guy from Gladiator with him. So they were kind of, you know, going back and forth. So there was little stuff. But again, like, I don't know what to say to him. Like, honestly, like, you know, what do you say to him? Like, Terminator 2 was freaking awesome. It was.
Yeah, I know.
But like, yeah, exactly. Like everybody is, I don't know. It's just a tough thing. Like, you know, actually what I do want to talk to him about, what I think might be good conversation is superstar Billy Graham, asking him about him. Because I don't even know if Arnold knows I wrestle or anything. And I don't want to even impose that on him. Like, oh, hey, I'm a wrestler. I was with WWE. You know what I mean? It just, in my mind, a guy like that is probably not going to care. But if I bring up Billy Graham, that might be something he kind of reminisces about a little bit.
It's pretty cool, though, that you always have that story that you and Arnold worked in together on.
Oh, I know. You know, we've had a lot of cool people. You know, Apollo Creed, Carl Weathers would come in there. And I always felt bad because I never got a chance to give him his flowers, too. Because, you know, he always seemed very unapproachable, which I get. When I go to the gym, I try to look as unapproachable as possible, not to be an a-hole, but just because, you know, that's how
you're in the zone.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to the zone and stay there. And like, so I can very easily be taken off of that and start, you know.
Yeah. I always see Mike O'Hearn. He's there every day. Billy Gunn, whenever he's in town, it's like Mike O'Hearn and Billy Gunn together is just ridiculous.
The banter between those guys. Oh my gosh.
And also Billy Gunn looks ridiculous. Like he looks way better now than he did in his prime in WWE.
Just hanging out with Mike O'Hearn.
I guess it's just by osmosis.
But no, he does. It's actually pretty amazing, man. I mean, you got to give those guys their props. Like I don't think anybody has aged like, and, maintains like that, it's pretty, who's older? Billy's older, right?
Billy's a few years older, like five years old.
Yeah, we don't need to say the age, just call them out or anything. But, it's very cool. It's inspiring too. Yeah. And it's funny hearing the banter between those guys. And I see them in the gym here and there, you know what I mean? Doing their thing. Like I steal stuff from Mike when I can.
Oh yeah.
Just cause he's always got something. I steal stuff from a lot of guys. Like I love flipping through Instagram and just seeing exercise that might intrigue me. Like I'll see, like one thing I see Michael Hearn do is he'll do shrugs on a machine, but he'll turn his wrist this way. And so, it's little stuff like that is very interesting. It really changes the movement. It takes your arms out of it. And
Oh, the playoff push is heating up and tournament hoops are here. And there's no better way to cash in if you're right on the high-flying hoops action than Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. Every bucket, every dime, and every win means more when you're playing on Prize Picks. And with their brand new Team Picks markets, you can now pick game winners, spreads, and totals on top of the player picks that you already know. So cash it if you're right during all the clutch buckets, slam dunks, and Cinderellas this spring with Team Picks on Prize Picks. Team Picks are available now in 35 states, including California, Texas, Georgia, Washington, and more. It's super easy to pick game winners, spreads, and totals, all on Prize Picks. Pick the winner straight up on Prize Picks. Who's gonna win the next big basketball game? Who's gonna win the fight? Back your takes with real money. Download the Prize Picks app today and pick your first game winner, spread, or total as the playoff push rolls on, and get $50 bonus credit in daily fantasy lineups when you play your first $5 lineup with the code INSIGHT. That's code INSIGHT to get $50 bonus credit in daily fantasy lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
I don't think it's talked about enough that you were only 22 when you made your WWE debut, looking as jacked as you did. I think because you had that much muscle, people assumed
I was
you were
21.
Older. 21.
Yeah, because I was, I know that because I was turning 22 when I worked the Elimination Chamber. Yeah, like that's how that always stands out to me. So, yeah, it was, I definitely didn't look my age. And I think most of the guys didn't even treat me like I was my age because of that, like I was a kid. It was like me, Muhammad Hassan, and like, Rene Dupree, just a few young guys amongst a locker room of men that most of us kind of grew up watching. So, and yeah, I just think most of them just kind of treated me like I was a grown man when really, I was a kid, if you think, because I'll see, when I do seminars or, even just indies, I'll see guys who were right around that age and, they still look like kids.
Yeah.
And so then I'm like, well, that was me. I was that age too. I just looked older. It doesn't mean I was necessarily more mature or, had any kind of wisdom or anything like that at that point.
But the amount of muscle you put on at that age it's so impressive.
Yeah. And my body was just very receptive to it. And I really kind of focused on it. And also I had good genetics. I at least knew that through my dad. I didn't know my dad at this point. I didn't meet him till later. But one thing my mom always told me about him is that he was fit, in shape. He lifted weights. And, I had one picture of him. So I, got to see a little bit of it. But, yeah, and you know what kind of actually separated me, most people might not realize, is there's other guys who've been that big, but it was the muscle maturity. Like, I had a muscle maturity of a guy much older, It most guys, if they're that size at that age, they're very puffy and, it's not quality muscle yet like that. So mine looked like a guy who had been maybe late 20s, early 30s.
For sure.
Kind of, what I mean? And it's a different look. It really is. It's just a more, more quality, less, water and bloat and, more hard.
And you're the youngest person to ever compete in Elimination Chamber.
Am I?
Yes.
22 is?
Yes.
Yeah. See, I was wondering about that because there was somebody recently an Instagram.
Javon Evans. So you were the youngest to that point.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because there was an Instagram post where they were saying I was 23. Again, and I had to correct them, like, no, I was 22 that day.
Well, the fun fact came out that Javon Evans is younger than Elimination Chamber itself. Yeah. So he just competed in this last Elimination Chamber.
That's unbelievable.
Right. And he's an unbelievable talent, right?
Well, I guess it makes sense, man. Like a lot of time is gone. Like,
it's true.
When was the first one? It was like 2003.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was the one with Sean's brown tights.
Did you feel the pressure being in Elimination Chamber, one, at that age, and then two, like really early into your WWE career?
Yes, I did. And also I made a huge mistake I took a red-eye flight into New York and that was a mistake. I learned that time because I was so like kind of off for the day, like it's hard to get back on track if you take a red-eye, like you got to get a really good nap in, I guess. But yeah, it was a lot of pressure too because it's such a different match. Like you don't necessarily know how it's going to feel necessarily, you know what I mean? Like when you have a one-on-one match, you kind of know kind of the flow of it and you have a better grasp of it. With a match like that though, there's so much going on and stuff that can go wrong. Like in the first one, Hunter getting his throat, squashed. And, but I just remember, it was a lot of fun though. I just, things that stand out to me, I always see the clip of Kurt Angle entering and I always remember being in the pod and watching him and just being like, my God, he's one of the best ever. Like, and I already knew that, but I'm just saying, watching him and that intensity that he brought, it was just like, oh, he's like top 5, like in-ring work. I mean, he could do everything, obviously, but like it was that intensity that he brought. I was like, oh man, like this is.
And you're in the pod watching this, thinking that.
Yeah, well, because I have to come out after him. So like, and I did pretty good in my entrance in there, but you're seeing something like that. It's like, you got to try to match, you're not going to outmatch that intensity, but you got to definitely bring it. And I don't know, it was always cool, man. Yeah, I just had this realization, like Kurt is just freaking amazing. And then, obviously Sean was in it, which was really cool. Kane, Carlito, and the story of it was
stacked.
Yeah, and the story of it was real cool too. How Carly and me tried to band together, and then he screws me. And honestly, none of us knew about Edge coming out after. None of us knew. I mean, Sean probably knew, I guess, but I just remember that day, Carlito just being kind of like, just thinking the finish was odd. Because it would have just been a roll-up. Cena rolls up Carlito, that's it.
Yeah.
So it just kept saying, something's not right, something's not right. And then, we're out there and then Vince comes out and then Edge. And then I didn't suspect anything. I don't even know if I thought about it, but Carly knew something was wrong. You know what I mean?
But they didn't even tell you.
No. And I get it now though, because it's just one of those things, just like nowadays, sometimes the less that know, the better. It's not really about being disrespectful or, trying to be secretive. It's more just like the less that know, the better, because everything gets reported, stooged, especially now, even more maybe with the social media and stuff. Yeah. So, at the time I was kind of like, why'd you have to keep us in the dark about it? But again, you just get it with time. It's just like, it's just better, less people know. Like, when they talk about the screw job and, some of the guys they didn't tell on that, you kind of get it. It's like, okay, well, yeah, certain people needed to know, but, you didn't necessarily have to tell everybody. The more they know, the more, more hands are dirty, right?
Yeah. I had Buff Bagwell on the show recently, and he has a great physique, right?
Oh, yeah.
Legendary physique.
Yeah.
I asked him his Mount Rushmore of best physiques in wrestling.
Yeah.
He listed 4 legends, but there were so many comments saying, what about Chris Masters? And I actually brought you up in the interview. Where do you think you fall in terms of best physiques in wrestling?
Well, like that 20, 21, 22 range would definitely be probably in like, I don't know, maybe top 10, top 15. I mean, I go, it's hard, man. It's hard to compare yourself against guys you kind of, you grew up watching and you kind of looked up to and all that. I just know the guys that stood out to me always were like, Ultimate Warrior, Lex Luger, Rick Rude, and Buff, Scott Steiner. I mean, and there's guys that weren't necessarily known for their bodies that obviously had good builds too. But I mean, those were the guys that really known for it. And then I think more in this era, I guess it was Bobby Lashley, Batista. Oh, I mean,
Triple H.
I mean, you could even say, oh yeah, Triple H. Yeah, Triple H had a run there too. Like, yeah, so like, what was it, that one where he came back at the Garden?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so he would be like,
after the torn quad.
Yeah, so like that version of Hunter would obviously be probably somewhere in the top 10 too. You know what I mean? Like it was just, he was pretty ridiculous. But it's interesting, you know what I mean? Like you have to go to the certain years, you know what I mean? Like,
but then you look at like any year for Bobby Lashley. Right?
Yeah, he doesn't change.
Any year for Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, they're just
right.
Yeah, they're just monsters. Like those guys you're talking about though are mutants. You know what I mean? They're like they're not just fit, they're also like freak athletes and like, you know, just don't mess with these. You know, they're not only are they big, but they're fast.
And for them, it's like, yes, it's great genetics, but it's also a ton of discipline and it's hard work. And it's like all of that comes together to make them a top 1% athlete.
Well, and people don't mention it, but like Cena's a guy who, you know, Cena's got a good build too. It's
Of course,
he just didn't make it part of his thing. He didn't.
It's a great point. Yeah.
I mean, it is, and that's what I mean. It's like there's a lot of guys that'd be easy to just not mention because they didn't make it their thing. And that's kind of where when I think about it, I kind of go to is like, okay, who's made it kind of their thing? Like I even love Rick Rude. You know what I mean? Like, again, he had a great, honestly, now that you're talking about this though, it's funny because my perfect physique, or like to me, we were talking about Schwarzenegger, right? Sly Stallone. I always tell everybody, like, Sly Stallone around that Rocky 3, 4, and
Rocky
Rambo.
4, he's ridiculously ripped.
But not even just, he was just the coolest guy on the planet.
Yeah.
The voice, the aura, as they say nowadays, right? Like, and even the build, man. And I know that, like, it's very easy. A lot of people are like, oh, he wasn't very big. And like, you watch him at the time, you thought he was a lot bigger than he was, but he was just so conditioned that it's just like, I still watch those. And even the guys he fought, Apollo and Dolph, those guys were so well conditioned that I just love the presentation they brought in those movies. So that, I don't know, that to me was always, Sly Stallone was the guy. You know what I mean?
What do you realistically think his build was? Like height and weight? What do you realistically?
Oh, very tiny. You know,
probably, is he 5'9", 5'8", 5'10"?
Yeah, he's probably 5'8" or 5'9", I'd imagine, but I could be way off.
And then what, 180?
Yeah, I'd imagine somewhere between that and 205, maybe.
Well, I don't even know if he's 205. He's so lean.
That's true, actually. They were so conditioned. I mean, they were probably really light. I don't know. I'm probably going to be way off, but either way, though, dude, just the way. I mean, do you remember those boxing matches?
Yes.
The training montage?
Yeah.
I mean, it was just like Sly Stallone, man.
Rocky 4 is my favorite of all the Rockies.
He's the body guy to me.
Really? Stallone?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, not only like was he the coolest guy, but also just that conditioning and that physique. You know what I mean? I know like Arnold Schwarzenegger was the bodybuilder and, you know, the bigger guy and all that, but I don't know.
Pretty crazy, though, that if you put Chris Masters in your prime next to Stallone in his prime, you would be gigantic compared to him.
Oh, yeah.
You would dwarf him.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, I try not to look at it in those ways because then, like, you know, we talked about Lee Priest, right? Lee Priest didn't have the biggest frame either, but he's still, you know what I mean? He was dialed in,
Iconic,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, Stallone is going to look tiny next to me, but, like, I was more of a monster anyway. You know what I mean? If I tried to box with him at the time, like, he would land 50 to my 1. So, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you know, size matters and stuff, but, you know, and it's an advantage in a lot of things, you know what I mean? But it's not everything, right?
So if you had to give me a Mount Rushmore of your best body guys in wrestling, who are they?
Oh, shit. Okay, Mount Rushmore. Okay. Oh, shoot, this is gonna be tough, but I'm gonna probably lean Scott Steiner, Lex Luger. Oh man, this is tough. I guess we could say that version of Hunter, Madison Square Garden, that one. Those
two Hunter.
Yeah, he's just ridiculous, right? Like,
yeah.
Oh, Ultimate Warrior. Let's not leave him off.
Warrior, yeah.
Yeah, we got to put Warrior. I mean, that's 4, right?
That's it.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know.
You have almost the exact same one as Buff.
Oh, is that what he said too?
He said, so he would have replaced Triple H with Batista. That was his.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but the other 3 were the exact same.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
And then a lot of comments saying, what about Masters? What about Rick Rude?
Honorable mentions.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't even put myself in the Mount Rushmore, but like, I think you could take that version of me in 05, 06 and put him somewhere in the, Hunter's in the top 5. Top 10 or something like that. You know what I mean?
How hard was it to stay that conditioned?
It was hard, but it was more about just making it a habit that, you know what I mean? That you did everything you could to not miss the gym and get your 5 workouts in a week, get whatever cardio it is you intend. And then, it got harder on the road, but I mean, I would even, like when I go on the road initially, I would pack enough food so that I'd have food to get me through till Saturday and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So little stuff like that. Like I won't do that anymore. You know, like Brian Cage will walk around with a big thing of food. You know, he's got it all for the
Guy's
day.
a monster.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I'm hot.
No, we can turn it down a little bit more here.
You
Yeah,
mind?
sorry.
Yeah, sorry. I run hot, man.
It's all good.
Let me ask you, have you looked at your credit card statement recently? A lot of people are working 40, 50 hours a week just to buy groceries and gas, things you used to be able to afford, and the credit card companies are charging over 20% interest for the privilege. Think about that, over 20%. It's designed to keep you underwater. American Financing is doing something the credit card companies hate. They're actually helping people. They have mortgage rates in the 5s. They're showing homeowners how to take their hard-earned equity to wipe out that high interest debt. The average savings is $800 a month. Talk to a salary-based mortgage consultant. No upfront fees, no obligation, to see how much you can save. And if you start today, you could delay 2 mortgage payments. Give American Financing a call. America's home for home loans. 866-721-3300. That's 866-721-3300, or visit AmericanFinancing.net/Chris.
Do you feel like you were ever close at any point in time in WWE to winning a championship? It's pretty crazy to think you didn't win one.
No, all of them. There was a point, I mean, Carlito and me were supposed to win them at that WrestleMania, but it literally got switched like the day before. Like it was, yeah, we were penciled in to win it, but then Carlito, they wanted him to turn baby, and the Spirit Squad, they kind of wanted to get the belts on them somehow to give them some steam. And so that was that. And then the Intercontinental title, I was actually supposed to win that, but it was the same point where they had given me intervention and for, my prescription painkiller, abuse at the time. So, and they even told me, I remember having the meeting with Johnny, and because there was a 4-way match that night, it was in Vegas for the Intercontinental title that I was slated to win, but then they have caught wind that I had the issues I had, and I had a little intervention, and, basically told me you're going to rehab. And so, I screwed that. So tag belts, I had no control over. That just happened. I effed up. And then, there was a point there, because you can even watch back to those old Raws where Vince was playing with the idea of making me the youngest champion. But, he was filling out a lot of guys at that point, And I'm pretty sure Cena gave me probably the thumbs down at some point. So I don't know, maybe.
Issue there?
Oh yeah, we never mixed too well for whatever reason. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, Massachusetts guy, California guy. I don't know, just kind of oil and water. But I don't take away anything from the fact that he's this generation's Hogan, and he definitely worked harder than anybody probably would have in that spot, especially for that long. So,
do you feel the weight of you're about to win the Intercontinental Championship? Now you're not winning the Intercontinental Championship. There's this intervention, and you're being sent to rehab. There's got to be a lot of weight that you're feeling with that.
Yeah, it sucks. My priorities just weren't in the right place, because I remember being bitter about it and wanting to stay in that place of addiction and being unreasonable, but it's tough. Like when you get there, like you aren't, you can be irrational, you can do irrational things. It starts to control you and stuff like that. And, it's just nice to have so much separation from that. And even just for the business is such a cleaner place than it was when I entered. And I say that it's nice to not walk into a locker room and have somebody, who has, issues like that going on or passing out in the locker room. And it's just a cleaner business now.
What do you think that can be attributed to? Where did the shift start to happen?
It was just, Eddie Guerrero, then Chris Benoit. And so it started with Eddie, but then it got really serious with Chris. And then from that point on too, like anytime anybody had an issue, like it was dealt with, you know what I mean? And it was much easier, there was a point after the Chris thing happened where, it became fewer and fewer guys, that had it. And like, I think everybody who had an issue ended up having to go in at some point, But yeah, I got serious. And then like, it was very gradual, but I think, to the point we are today where, now like guys don't even party, they play video games. You know what I mean?
I had a buddy who's in a band, and he reached out. He's like, hey, we're in town the same night as WWE. Can you give me a list of everybody who's going to be partying tonight? And I said, it doesn't really work like that anymore. Like,
right, yeah.
They might be hanging out at the hotel playing video games.
It's weird, but I'm kind of happy that I came in when I did, because I have like one foot out in with the old generation and then the new generation, like, because I get the tech thing, but I was also came in around a time where everybody on the Raw crew would go out and sing karaoke. And, I remember Jericho wanting all the young guys to go out for build the camaraderie of the team. And, it was definitely very different. But, it's definitely just nice that, there's not as much drinking and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Again, just to be cleaner.
You were there during a time when a lot of your colleagues, a lot of your friends were passing away. Like that was a really rough period, like 2000s.
Yeah.
Really rough time.
But I mean, I don't even think it was just pro wrestling. If you look at the grand scheme of the country, the U.S. had an opiate problem, and obviously the pro wrestlers had it. Out here in Hollywood, there was an issue. Just a lot of people, and I think there's a better awareness of the fact that these things can be addictive now, and they control that stuff much better. And I lost a lot of guys. Lance Cade, I always think about, man. Test, I always think about, and. The list goes on, but I just, it would be sad to lose your life over that. It really sucks. Cause I think back to it and, being in it sucked, but like I could see, looking down from heaven and just being like, oh my God, why did I, jeopardize everything to do that?
Who were you traveling with the most when you were in WWE?
Well, I had a nice little run with Gene Snitsky. Oh my God. You
love Snitsky.
Oh, I love Hey, Uncle Snizzle, man. I mean, it was wild, man. I don't know. I hope I don't get him in trouble, but he was a heck of a road partner, man. Like let's just say this, man. So I'm just traveling with Snitsky, and this is back before we had Wi-Fi, right? Like I always remember Wi-Fi because Snitsky was the first one that introduced it to me. There was a point where we were on the road and all of a sudden he had to have a hotel with Wi-Fi. And I didn't even know what it was yet. But all I knew is if we found a hotel with Wi-Fi, we wouldn't have to stop at some adult store in the middle of nowhere so he could pick out videotapes and pantyhose and buy, penis pills. And, honestly, that was routine every night. No matter how long the drive, we had to stop by whatever adult/porn shop. And I would try to sit out in the car just to expedite the process, but 30 minutes would go by and then I have to go in there and then he'd suck me into his crazy world. And I just always remember us, we'd be driving 300 miles and we'd be 30 minutes from our destination. Snitsky would be opening a Red Bull and taking his penis pills. And, I was just what is going to happen? It's 4 a.m. I guess we're going to have we need a late checkout tomorrow, I guess. I used to always imagine because we don't have a woman in the car. I'm not in the room. What is happening?
So you're sharing the car, but separate rooms.
Oh, yeah. Oh, come on. Let's make that clear right now. Yes. I was not in the room with the Red Bull and the penis pills.
And the Rhino, the Rhino pills you see at the gas station checkout.
Yes. Yes. That's what I'm talking. Yeah. Basically. And you'd also buy, pantyhose, but the kind of the ones for women's leggings,
Yeah.
That was, he loved feet, man. And that was another thing.
He's not ashamed about his love for feet.
No,
he loves it.
It was unbelievable, man. I was always the same. The girls, they wouldn't want it. No. And by the time he'd actually get the foot in his mouth, all of them would just smile. It was crazy. It was oh my God, they love it. They're dreading. No. Then it gets in there. And all of a sudden, I don't know.
How did you even start traveling with him?
I don't know. It should have never happened probably. But we both needed a travel. We were on the road to this. I know he came into Louisville. So we probably met there. And then I was new on the road. He'd only been on the road a few months. So they probably just, I was they probably threw me to him, right? Somebody's got to travel with that guy. Anybody but us, right?
And then who did you travel with after that?
Okay, so I had a run with The Miz and Evan Bourne, Matt Sydal for a while. Oh, also Tyler Rex, Gabby, and Drew McIntyre, Carlito for a while. And that was probably, those were probably my road crews.
I feel like you and Carlito are still best friends to this day.
Yeah, I haven't talked to him as much lately, but I am going to next weekend, I'm going to be working him over in Maine for a couple of indie shows. So if you're in the Maine area, check that out.
When I had Carlito as a guest for my live show last year, I just reached out to you and I said, you have any good Carlito stories? And you sent me like a ton of voice notes. You're like, well, this one might not be that appropriate, but I'll tell you the story anyway.
Yeah.
I played that note for him and he's like, we probably shouldn't tell that story out there.
Oh, yeah. No, I think that was the one in maybe Australia or something.
I think it may be, yeah. Good story.
Oh, God,
Good story for us to know.
We've made some memories, that's for sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've been on every continent with him at this point. So,
didn't Cena give you the very first STFU?
Yes.
That's true?
And yes, and you must show the clip right now in your editing so everybody can see it was a shoot. It was a shoot STFU. I mean, again, I'm not saying that Cena was purposely doing it to shoot on me. You know, I mean, I used to think sometimes with Cena, like he get so fired up in the moment that like, you know what I mean? He wouldn't even know his own strength type of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, he did it to me for shooting. You'll see when you roll it, like my face starts turning red. Like I start trying to freaking like get it a little bit looser, but he's just, And I'm pretty sure that I heard later on that, you know, he was working with Kurt and Kurt had to kind of like tell him to loosen it up a little bit. So,
and if Kurt Angle is telling him to loosen it up, that's saying a lot.
Well, but and then Kurt with his neck issues and stuff, I'm sure probably like when I watched,
Kurt's so tough.
Yeah, but you know, like that, my Masterlock could be kind of brutal sometimes with guys because I didn't really know how to work it either. So sometimes when I look back at those videos and I look at me putting on Kurt, I'm kind of like, oh man, like I was probably rougher with him than I needed to be. Like it was probably, you know what I mean? Like, you know, because when you're that green, you don't know how to, you know, Shakespeare it as much. You know what I mean? Like you do stuff a little more real than you have to, or you work a little more. So, I mean, I can remember actually there was a time with Shane Helms who we were working at a live event and I Masterlocked him, I guess, like way too hard. And so I released the Masterlock and they ring the bell, the match is over, and he gets up and I think he tells me to F off and just walks off. Yeah. And like, I mean, I'm not even saying it to, you know, heel on him. I was too stiff. You know what I mean? Again, I didn't know how to work it. So, and it became a big drama with everybody because, you know, then it was like, you know, he no-sold the hold. But, you know, again, I'm obviously doing it too rough. You know what I mean? And I know that too because with Shelton one time, he was telling me like, you know, I was about to pass out. You know, if it's too tight, like, and you know what I mean? If it's too tight, like some of the guys were so broad here that it'd be so tight that it would be tough, man. Like, cause you know, you start twerking their neck from the start and, you know.
What's a legit hold?
Yeah, you'll pass out. You turn, you know, cuts off the blood flow and you'll go out. Like,
Who is it the hardest to put the Masterlock on?
Probably Bobby.
Bobby?
Yeah, he's got, like, just look at his build. I mean, I say that just because I remember having, like just holding that thing for a long time on anybody can be kind of tough. You know what I mean? For a long time, I'm saying, not for 20 seconds, but like with Bobby, I mean, it was hard, you know, because probably by the time I got it around his neck, it was probably not even fully locked just because he was so kind of broad up here, you know?
I thought for sure it was going to be Big Show.
Well, I don't even think it was possible with Big Show. Like, honestly, we went through this one time at a TV where we tried to get it on. Everybody like was so excited when I got there to try it. Like, I was like, they got me to the ring. They wanted to see if and then we had this idea of maybe using a chain, but I guess it didn't make sense. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like you wrap a chain and you do it there, but it's like, well, I guess it didn't make sense. So we didn't do that. And then it's funny because I feel like there was a point where I could have put it on him and maybe he just was a little heavier. When he was heavier, maybe I couldn't, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I was never able to get it on him.
But it's pretty cool that you have a submission move that when people see it done by whoever, they think of you or they think of Bobby Lashley. They think of the Masterlock or they think of the Hurt Lock.
Yeah, and one of the best things for me has been that I didn't really realize is that having a finishing move like that gives you the opportunity. Like when I take pictures with people, I will usually give them the choice if they want to take a regular pick or pick in the Masterlock. And like you know, not all guys can do their finishing moves in a picture. So,
yeah, right.
And like, you know, they usually, you know, and they usually love it, you know, like usually I do it to one person and then everybody wants it. So, you know, I'm always just hoping their hygiene is good and everything. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah,
and then there's some guys who are very, let's say broad, who come up and I'm just like, oh, please just want a regular photo, you know. But then, you know, there's some guys that just want me to try it. They'll just, come on.
You could start adding more. Like, you know, regular photo, $30. Masterlock photo, $40.
You're right. I probably should.
I think there's already some legends that do that.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's not like you can it's not like you can take a picture with The Rock and he has you up in the rock bottom for a photo, you know?
No, like, yeah. Or even like Bret with the sharpshooter, guy's got to be on the floor. It's just a big pain.
I do have a photo of Kurt putting me in the ankle lock.
Yeah, but haven't you taken a few?
I've given a few too.
Yeah, you did.
I remember when I met Kurt, it was 2008. He was a guest at the TV station I was working at in Toronto.
Yeah.
And I'm like, would you mind putting me in the ankle lock for a photo? He's like, yeah, sure, get down. So I get down and I put my right leg up. He goes, other leg, idiot. And I'm like, oh yeah.
Right, left.
I know. And I was like, no, I was an idiot. So stupid.
Yeah, I just love that he told it to you like that. Yeah, it is.
What are you doing?
I'm pretty sure I'd probably have the same. It's a pro wrestling thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, give me the left.
It's funny because I started as a high school wrestler. Everything's on the right, or just like your dominant side.
I think in lucha it's still to the right too.
I believe you're right. Yeah. But then when I started wrestling training, I'd forget everything I thought I knew. Yeah. Because everything's on the left in pro wrestling.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, and that's important because there's a lot of parts of a wrestling match that are kind of like a dance. So, you know what I mean? There's a lot of that's why, you need to know it's the left side we're working and footwork and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's timing.
Yeah.
It's an amazing thing, pro wrestling. I can see why you're able to, you know what I mean? Like people just love it. That's one thing you can tell is pro wrestling is so special because the fans love it. They are passionate about it. Like Star Wars fans, they're nerds for like Star Wars fans are for Star Wars.
Yes.
And I get it too, because before I was in the business, that was the extent of my fandom. I mean, I had posters on my ceiling.
Quick time out from this episode and a huge shout out to NordVPN for sponsoring this episode and for keeping me safe when I'm spending time online. Wi-Fi networks, especially free public Wi-Fi, can be compromised by criminals who are going in there and trying to steal your data. But that's not the case when you have NordVPN. And it's incredibly easy to use, whether it's on your phone, your laptop, your tablet, or whatever you're using to access the internet. And it is lightning fast. In fact, it is the fastest VPN on the planet. And one of the best things about NordVPN is you can change your virtual location with just one click, so you can access content that's not available where you live. For example, the OG WWE network is still available if you change your virtual location to a place where it still does exist. Head to nordvpn.com/CVV to take advantage of this exclusive deal that's going on right now. Check out those prices plus 4 extra months. And NordVPN has a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you realize this isn't for you, no problem. They've got you covered. Go to nordvpn.com/CVV today.
Who's the first wrestler that you ever met as a fan?
You're gonna love this. Triple H. And it was with my friend at Venice Beach. And Hunter was one of the first. I was a 14-year-old kid with an HBK shirt. And I'm with my friend, and Hunter starts telling us about how the curtain call and how he's supposed to win the King of the Ring. And we got smartened up that day. It was amazing. Like, it's not that we thought everything was a shoot, but like he was smarting us up. He was telling us about the click, telling us about, again, how he's supposed to win King of the Ring. And then you know what happens? He's in Muscle Beach in Venice. They're in the workout area. It's an appearance. So me and my friend buy tickets to work out, even though we don't work out. We don't do, you know what I mean? We do not belong there, but like all the fans are outside and we're just with him. That's why we're getting Hunter just talking to us. And you know who comes, we see down the beach coming is Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and X-Pac. And they're wearing NWO tank tops, little itty bitty shorts. And like me and my friend are just like, we're just like, oh, we're like caught up in the moment. Like, oh my God, is something going to go down? Like all of a sudden we're like an episode of Raw or Nitro or something. And like,
Yeah, especially because at that time, WWF and WCW didn't mingle.
No, exactly. But, again, Hunter had just been telling us about the curtain call. So it made sense. Those guys came up there to make their presence felt, say what's up to Hunter. And then they left. And, I think it was more it was for a reason. Right, because Hunter was kind of getting the shaft at the time. It was kind of a way for them to send notice to Vince probably or whatever. Yeah. But I don't know. All I know is my friend and I were just tripping. We followed Nash, Hall, and X-Pac for a while. I remember, man, I wish I had some of the pictures I could show you to flash up. But
are they out there? They're on the internet?
They're not on the internet, but my friend has them.
You'll
like,
have to send them to me
yeah,
so we can pop them up.
We have a ton because we would also sneak backstage at the Arrowhead Pond Honda Center, and we got pictures with everybody.
The one in Anaheim.
Yeah. My friend figured out how to do it, and so we would.
What was the secret?
There's an elevator.
Okay.
Like there was like a kayfabe elevator. You go down, and the main thing you had to do was avoid Dave Hebner at all costs, because Dave had thrown us out several times. So there was a point where we would be backstage, but we knew and it was funny because we got smart as time went on, and we realized, wearing a wrestling shirt's not the best idea back there. You know what I mean?
Because that's what fans wear.
Exactly. And then we also knew to hey, we should probably just wait out in the parking lot. That way maybe Dave won't kick us out or, have a better chance of getting our photos. But yeah, man, it was cool though. But that day at the beach, man, I remember from a fan experience, that was probably the coolest day I had up until that point. It was just wow, did that just really happen? We got to shoot with Hunter, and the outside, the Wolfpack comes, and Shamrock's benching 405. Wow, legit, yeah.
Pretty amazing. The fast forward a handful of years later, and then you're in there working with Triple H.
Yeah, and I kind of regret that I feel like I never had talked to Hunter about that Muscle Beach thing, because I don't know, I'm sure I wasn't the only kid he was probably kind of venting to around that time frame about what was happening with him, but it was still, I know that he would have remembered it because, again, it was a very kind of standout. It's Muscle Beach.
Yeah.
It wasn't just some appearance he'd forget about. Even when I saw X-Pac at the GCW show and was talking to him about that, they all remember it, obviously.
Yeah. Well, there's not many gyms that are set up in the middle of a beach.
Muscle Beach is iconic.
Of course.
Yeah. And
Venice Beach is memorable.
And like you said, just the interaction between the companies just didn't happen like that. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, crazy that you lived the dream, right? Then fast forward all these years later, you're doing it.
Yeah. And I would remember, I wouldn't lose track of that when I was out there. I remember many times where I was out there at the live events, teaming up with Hunter against Sean and Flair on some occasions, just being like, wow, this is it was amazing, because he's 3 generations of wrestler. We might have even said this in your last interview, but Sean, Hunter idolized Rick, and I basically idolized all of them, because I even liked Rick too, man. That's my archetype of wrestler that I liked was, the athletic heel that covers the ring. Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, Mr. Perfect, good sellers and keep the action moving. I mean, and, over the top selling, but, athletic.
Yeah. How heartbroken were you that after you get there, you get released a few years later?
I was shocked and heartbroken, but I also kind of felt like I would come back eventually. So it wasn't, again, it was a tough time. That was a tough time for me because I was right in the middle of all that stuff we were talking about still. So, you're very kind of, you feel like you wake up every day and you go about your business and you feel like you're sharp, but really you're kind of living in a cloud a little bit. You know what I mean? So you're not your best self. Yeah, I knew I'd come back. So I don't think it was like, oh my God, my life is ruined.
Why were you so sure you'd come back?
Because of the circumstances. I was young and the mistakes I'd made, I was redeemable. You know what I mean? I still hadn't had any real issues where I couldn't be redeemed or come back. And I knew Vince liked me and,
Yeah.
They didn't want to release me, honestly, but it just, I kind of probably at that point put them in a situation where they had to based on everything that had been happening at the time. You know what I mean? Somebody has to be a fall guy sometimes, you know what I mean? Especially if he's asking for it or he's,
Do you have any regrets about when you were there? Regrets about what you could have done, should have done?
Yeah, but pro wrestling, yes, because hindsight is always 20/20. But there's a lot of things I can look back on now that I see much clearer now than I did back then. But wrestling, it's tough. There's so much to it, and you only learn really it gradually with time, to master all of it, whether it be the politics or the in-ring stuff or your character and your presentation, all that stuff. So there's a lot of stuff that I would have probably done differently or that I wish I had known back then, but I know that I know now. Mm-hmm. Right. And the part that breaks my heart is, like over the last 10 years, I've been like, I'm so comfortable in the ring. It's my place of comfort. And I just know that I've had, you know, some of the best matches of my career. And the fact that those aren't happening on, you know, a bigger platform, you know, that breaks my heart sometimes, because it's like, you know, it'd be nice for people to appreciate my work and see what I can do now. And the fact that I can, you know, go out here and, you know, do everything pretty darn well. And, but, you know, again, I'm also still grateful for the fact that I'm still like able to do it. And I still wrestle in front of, you know, good fans every week, you know, like some bigger than others. Obviously it's the indies, but, you know, they're still fun.
Yeah.
You know, like that GCW show out here with Joey.
Yeah.
Well, it was so much fun.
I don't know if fans realize you're not the masterpiece anymore. Like this version of you that's wrestling in 2026 is so different than the version we saw 20 years ago.
And he would be, but like, you know, obviously I'm not like as massive as I was, but like I'm more the kind of type.
Look at these arms though. You're still
got
hey, put those things away.
Oh yeah, I like that. Still got it.
Clearly. This giant vein popping out of the camera. Yeah.
Feeling good about that.
Yeah, well, you should.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Should have worn a sleeveless.
Well, still time.
Right, I didn't need this shirt under here, apparently. You were saying?
It's a different version of you.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, like, man, I wish there's to go back to what you're saying, like, when I watch myself now, like, you know, and I wish I would have done this from the very beginning. I would have just watched myself and just from a standpoint of when I was a fan, like, you know, put your fan hat on of when you were 8 or 10 when you're watching yourself. And do you like your walk? Do you like your gear? Do you like your present? And like, if you don't, change it, you know what I mean? Or, you know, whatever. But, you know, it's much easier to kind of please younger you because there's more like you who will like it too. You're not going to please everybody. So I wish I would have just kind of looked at it from that standpoint and tried to like make things easier, you know what I mean? And just, hey, you know, make yourself a fan of you.
Yeah.
You know, just start there and do the best you can with that. And, you know, do you like you? You're like, you got to at least like yourself.
Were you watching the show when CM Punk mentioned you in that promo that was kind of like a work shoot promo where he's like, you didn't call Chris Masters. It was right after you got released.
Okay. Whatever. Okay. You know, I didn't watch it live, but I do remember that I think CM Punk had texted me that day, I think to give me awareness that he was going to say something. So, and we talked about this before, but, you know, I appreciate it because, like, again, I know that it was, you know, work shoot angle. So, you know, they were using our names as kind of as part of a storyline, but it's based on a shoot, right? But what I do appreciate about it was what he had said. And because he had said that to me maybe a month or 2 months prior to that. So like, to me, it was like, okay, yeah, I know they're using this, but at least he's saying something that's real.
And he's saying like, you really worked hard this last year.
Yeah, and it's a compliment, of course. Yeah. But like, it's a compliment that he means, that he said to me, and now he's expressing it to everyone. And regardless if it's for a storyline, like I can appreciate that and I respect that. And, you know, I've always had an appreciation for Punk as far as, you know, when guys talk about like locker room leaders and stuff like that. I just felt like he was a guy who noticed, you know, I was working hard, and for him to notice that and say that, I was like, all right, that's cool that, you know, because it's not necessarily something I felt like Cena would have brought up, right? So
yeah. How close do you think you were to getting that NWA World's Heavyweight Championship?
Oh, I don't think I was close, honestly. I mean,
you were there.
You know, Billy Corgan has in mind, you know, this is one of those things where I don't, and that was part of the reason why I kind of left NWA, is there was a point where I just felt like Billy wasn't really appreciating me. And I felt like there was a point for that company where, you know, I was taking the opportunity seriously and I was ready to run through a wall for that company. But, you know, I don't know. I just, you know, Billy just kind of de-emphasized how he was using me. And I don't know. I was like, there was just a point where I didn't feel appreciated. And I was like, I think I'm probably done with this. And, you know.
Because you had that match with Tyrus for the championship.
Yep.
What'd you think about what people said online about that match? It wasn't you.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, they probably buried it, I'm sure, right? But like, I mean, you know, what am I going to do? I'm doing, you know, the best I can with the situation. I mean, thing is about Tyrus is he actually has great psychology and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But like, you know, just keeping the movement going was, the thing with it. So I don't know. I just knew I was like, I'm going to do the best I can with this. And, he doesn't work regularly either. Right. So that was another thing too, is like, I find it's crazy nowadays how WWE only works 1 day a week and AEW, like it's hard to, it doesn't surprise me that there's botches and stuff because timing and stuff is really, not to say we need to be working 4 days a week like we did, but they do need more than just Monday because you're going from cold to Monday Night Raw in front of millions. And like, you might be a tick off and end up falling on your ass or whatever, getting injured. But anyways, I'm getting off track, aren't I?
It's all good. Do you think about how much longer you want to do this?
Yeah, I don't.
Because you're 20 plus years in now.
I know. It's so crazy.
And you've done this your whole career.
Yeah, God. I don't know. It's all I've ever loved. It's kind of, I don't think I'm going to go beyond 50, honestly, but like, I do think at least I'm aging gracefully. You know what I mean? I'm like healthy.
Sexy Jesus.
Exactly. Taking care of myself. So I'm just kind of not putting a number on it. I'm like, I feel like physically my body will tell me at some point, like, you're probably not cut out to be taking these bumps or anything. And, hopefully I'll listen.
Yeah. Hopefully it's not like something where there's an injury or accident in the ring and it's like, well.
Oh, knock on wood. Yeah. I hope not. But I meant more just in terms of probably wear and tear. Like I try to be smart and not take unnecessary risks in matches nowadays. Like, I save it for, if there's a place where I know the platform, is appropriate to take that risk. You know what I mean? Enough people will see. So, I just try to be smart about that. And I'm also, with a lot of the guys, a lot of guys that work on the indies, it might be the first time I'm working them. You know what I mean? So that's another thing is just being like, there's a bit of a feel out process with that. And there's certain things you might not trust that guy with initially because you haven't worked them before.
Yeah.
Right? Because I've gone into situations where I told guys they can do things in the match and then I feel them in the first couple of minutes and I start getting nervous. So I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I trust them to do that. And that's always kind of a sucky situation because then you're like, okay, am I going to get killed?
Do you make an audible where you're like, hey, let's lay off that move now?
I'm sure I have, but I can't think of one off the top of my head, but I'm sure I have. Like I don't do something if I'm not comfortable with it. Yeah.
I know you've been spending a lot of time with Bret Hart recently. Is there some wisdom he has bestowed upon you?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't even know if it was a lot about wrestling. I mean, we just talked a lot about life and he took me to Owen's grave, me and Mo, which was
in Calgary?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he took he took us for a tour of Calgary on one of the days we had an extra day there. And so I remember him taking me by some of his schools and stuff and telling me and Mo about, the fights, some of the fights he would have, like the big, he talked about him and Steve Austin. It was based off a legit idea. Oh, I keep dropping my water. I'm sorry.
It's okay. As long as it's not spilling for you.
No. But he told us about some fights he had and about the build up to the fight and how he kind of related to pro wrestling. And I've heard him actually talk about this in some of interviews, but it was really interesting him talking about, kind of reminiscing about that stuff. And then, and just hearing about a lot of the things from his perspective. You know what I mean? I know a lot of people go on about how Bret's bitter, but he's not actually bitter. He's just unfiltered. He'll just say, what I mean? He'll just say whatever he feels. And obviously he doesn't, he don't care. And so you can kind of appreciate that in this day and age a little bit. You know what I mean?
I just get the vibe that he's not afraid to speak his mind.
No.
You ask him a question in an interview, he's just going to tell you what he thinks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, how about, that last one he did? Where's that, in Toronto?
Yeah. Yeah.
I texted him about that and I kept telling him to me, it was all about the way he kept saying it. That was just funny. Or regardless of the content, it's they were lovers. They were lovers. It's he kept calling them. I kept telling him, it's the way you said it. It sounded comedic. I understand you're trying to say it for real, but it sounds funny. You sound like you're telling a dry joke that's just, anyways.
Give me the pitch for when they told you to pop your pecs to Crazy Train.
Oh, boy. I don't know whose idea that was, but I didn't like it right from the start. Because, I knew it was going to be, I don't know, I didn't want to be doing comedic stuff really. You know what I mean? But I also knew that there was a point where I was like, all right, well, if I'm going to do this, let me just try to do it the best I can. And so then I did it and the crowd really responded to it like crazy. And unfortunately, it's one of those situations where I look back and I'm like, maybe I did it too good, because then they kept wanting me to do it. And then it was just like, I just knew, I'm like, this is stupid. Like, you know, like this is funny once, twice, but to do it, like if I was a fan, like by the third time of it, you know what I mean? Like enough. Like, you know, like it's not, anyway, so when I always think about that, like it was funny, but I always hate the fact that it's like, okay, now let's do this every week in some fashion. And like, I was just like, as a fan, I don't think I'd like this.
You still got it?
Oh yeah, I can still, you know.
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
Me too, a little bit.
Yeah, you've been working out, man.
Oh,
yeah.
it's working out with Chris Masters.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you got to do it to the beat of a song. Hey, you know what? So just while you mentioned that, so, you know, we lost Ozzy not that long ago.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the clips came up of that segment. And one thing I will say that I love about that is the genuine enthusiasm that, like, if you, maybe you can roll that clip or in your edit or whatever, but when you see Ozzy's face, he is so, he just loves it. And like, to me, I thought that was really cool. Like, you know, only after his passing that I thought about this and I watched it, I was like, man, it's really cool that I entertained Ozzy to that extent. Like, you know, he was really freaking just thought it was hilarious and was dying.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's cool, right? And like, I was just, and you know, Sharon was very flirtatious. It was pretty funny. Like, honestly, the funny thing about it is they wanted me to win, right? Like, but like, I don't think that's the way it was worked, the whole thing. There was some gimmick finish, but like, honestly, they like, I actually won the freaking thing. Like if we were doing it legit. So, but I don't remember what the finish was. It was some angle or something.
Well, look, man, it's always great to catch up with you.
Yeah.
You've been doing so much great stuff. The stuff you're doing in GCW, like I said, this is a different version of you. Yeah.
It's just been, I was really glad I got to do that show and work with them. You know what I mean? Joey Janela is just amazing. I mean, I could tell from the moment I locked up with him. You can really tell everything you need to know about a lockup. Ric Flair used to do that. That was his thing with guys, is he would lock up. And I remember being green and not understanding, like, how can you know everything you need to know by a lockup? But it's true. Because like, if you lock up with a guy and he's real stiff like this, you know, like, oh, he's nervous, stressed, or whatever. And also, if he locks up and he's like a limp noodle, you also, you know what I mean? Like, there's a feel to it. And like, I think the most nervous you get is when you got somebody who's real stiff. But like, you also know when you got somebody who's kind of a wet noodle, like, oh, this guy's just probably the shit. So, you know what I mean? But you know, from the minute I locked up with Joey, and like, I've worked with a lot of green guys recently too. So, you know, they're still learning. But like, I locked up with Joey and it just like, like, oh, this feels just right. Like, this is going to be good.
Yeah.
I just knew, like, right away, it just felt, you know, and for me, the reason I'm even bringing it up is because I don't get that all the time now. Again, because I get a lot of guys who are learning the craft. So, you know, when you get one of your peers and a good dance partner, it's fun. And especially when it's in Los Angeles.
Yeah. So I'll ask you the same question. You've answered this before, but maybe your answers are different today. What are 3 things today, Chris, that you're grateful for?
I'm grateful for my cats.
What are their names?
Sam and Angel.
Sam and Angel.
I love those guys, man. I'm a full-blown cat guy, man. I just love their energy. And Steve Austin with Macho and Poncho.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Solid-ass cats.
Solid-ass cat.
I got to meet them.
Dude, you did, right?
They're solid-ass cats. Yeah.
I love that he does that. Like, you never had on your bingo card Steve Austin and cats, you know, and
yeah.
at this
he
stage.
loves them.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I'm the same way, man. I love, you know, and I realize it's just the energy of them. You know, they have that energy to them. I can be very uptight and stressed, and they can, you know, because they don't want to be around that, and you don't want to be that way around them because they'll.
Yeah.
So
it was such a wholesome moment. After we done the interview, I said, "Can we meet the solid ass cats?" He goes, "Yeah, they're probably over in the horse barn." So he walked over. He goes, "Here, Macho. Here, Macho." And I was like, "This is amazing. Stone Cold's calling his cats."
I love it.
What a wholesome moment.
So I'm grateful for the biceps that are still there. You know what I mean? Still got it.
Damn.
And grateful for the sexy Jesus hair.
Said like a true heel.
Exactly. I got some competition here. You had, what is it? Ricky Saints not too long ago. Yeah, he had a good little heel interview.
Oh, who else have I had? The heel
Hairless Miz. I'm waiting for that one. Hairless, did you get? Oh, not Hairless Miz.
John Morrison.
John, yeah,
that one just aired. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's the first time a lot of people are seeing John Morrison with no hair.
Yeah, I got to hear the story.
Oh, you lost a hair versus hair match.
I know, but I want to hear.
Oh, yeah.
I want to hear more.
Yeah. Well, great to see you, man.
Good to see you.
Congrats on everything.
Thank you.